is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.
Supported by Albertsons.
And brought to you by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Tastes like Miller time. Tom Thumb and Albertsons, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Luke Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Alltech Lansing. Just listen with Alltech Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your hosts,
Nicole Hutchison and Brad Sham.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Yes, we're all here, and we're plunging ahead, and we're excited to be here. Thank you very much. That wasn't very convincing.
Yeah, it wasn't at all. Let's try that again.
Should I try it again?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't you go ahead? You jump it.
Welcome into the Cowboys Hour. Can y'all hear us in here?
There
Can we
we
get some
go.
energy?
There we go.
You know,
much
something?
better.
There
See,
we go.
I may let you do that all the time. I think you may be more qualified. Thank you for being here at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco. And it's, of course, a regular Monday night spot, except when we're here on Tuesday, which is this week and in 2 weeks, but more about that later. And obviously it was a little difficult last night, so we are really grateful. I mean, really in all cap letters, grateful to have Tyler Smith, the Cowboys All-Pro guard, with us. Make him feel welcome, will you? Tyler Smith, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, Tyler.
No problem at all.
Yeah, thank you. See, they need a little coaching, too. We are always grateful to have all of you join us from wherever you are doing that on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network and streaming whenever and wherever you are on DallasCowboys.com. Hi, how y'all is, as they say in Louisiana. We are delighted to have Tyler Smith with us always. And as I said, and I told him when he sat down, especially tonight, thank you. I know it's not after a game like that, and there's games like that. And after that, the number one thing you want to run out and do is go sit in front of an audience, right? And, yeah. But so thank you. Thank you for your patience.
No problem.
So in case folks don't know, let's start with the news. Cowboys made 2 trades today. They acquired Logan Wilson, a linebacker from Cincinnati, for a 7th-round draft choice. And I just met Logan Wilson. He's a very nice young man. Seems somewhat intense, but very friendly.
We need that.
Do you remember him, Tyler, from playing against him? Had you played him?
I mean, they were a solid squad. Obviously, last year they did get the win over us, but, I mean, he's a solid guy. He seems like he's a smart player. A lot of guys in the locker room say they respect him, so I think he'll be a solid addition.
That's all you need. And then the bigger, I guess it was a bigger trade because more was involved, but the Cowboys made a trade with the Jets and acquired All-Pro defensive tackle Quinnen Williams today, and they gave up their number 1 draft choice, not the Packers' number 1 draft choice, their number 1 draft choice next year, not in 26, but in 27, and their 2nd-round draft choice this year, this coming year, 26, and Mozzie Smith. He was going to the Jets. And so you must have butted heads with Quinnen a little bit, didn't you?
I actually have not.
Oh, you missed that game.
Yeah, I haven't played Quinnen at all.
That was the one game this year you missed.
Yeah.
Well, you watched the tape.
Yeah, I watched the tape. I mean, he's a great D tackle. I mean, he has a lot of respect around the league, and his body of work speaks for itself. So, I mean, obviously that's a big trade. Obviously, I wish all the well for Mozzie as well. I hope he gets a fresh start in New York. You know, he's able to string some nice things together because he is a talented guy. So, yeah, I think he's a good addition.
I talked to Oso Odigizua about this a little bit this afternoon since he's, one of the defensive captains and a guy who's affected on that side of the ball. But from your perspective, when there is a chemistry shakeup like this in the locker room and things have not been going exactly the way you all had it planned, what do you think's the impact of deals like this happening?
I mean, I think it's obviously huge just to flesh out our team in terms of positions that we're in need of. But, I mean, in terms of chemistry, I feel like it's always easy with us. I mean, guys come in. I think Shotty's a great coach. I think our program and our vision is in a great spot still, despite where we're at in terms of the culture that we're building. So I think it'll come in and become part of this culture and produce. Like, I really do. And I think about it for everybody. It's just about trusting the process of things and continuing to come into work every day with the right mindset.
I like the word that you use, vision. It's clear that Shadi doesn't have a problem with, or has proven that he's brought in the right guys to fit this culture. But when you talk about the vision that you guys have moving forward, specifically heading into this bye week, what is that?
I think it's accountability. I think that's the biggest thing for us. Last night and at various points this season, I think, we just haven't performed well in some situations that, I know that we could perform well in. It's just a matter of honing in on the details and then, being accountable at better in those things in practice, in terms of our study. And so I think going into this bye week, guys should definitely kind of get their mind off of football so they can recharge. But, when they come in, let's just be accountable to one another because ultimately it's going to take every man on the team to win a championship and continue to build the culture we're trying to build. So I think that's the most important thing.
Do you feel like the bye week came at a pretty good time?
I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty. I mean, week 9 is evenly spaced out, so I think it's in a nice spot. It should do the guys really good.
Does your body need the bye more or your brain?
I think it's equal. I mean, you have to rest the mind like you have to rest the body, and so I think it's just about spending time with your fam. Obviously, being grateful for the things in your life that maybe you don't have as much time for when you're in the grind of football, and so. Just doing that, and when we come back, having that mindset that ultimately we need to go where we need to go.
You just said a minute ago that guys, you need to use the bye to get their minds off football and get recharged. How possible is that, especially when the last game you played, let alone the first half of the season, has been a little frustrating?
I mean, I think it'll be hard for everybody. Everybody wants to win in that locker room, and so. Obviously, it'll be difficult, but I think it is important, obviously, to use this week to get your body back and ultimately rest your mind because things are tumultuous. And, the season is a grind, no matter how it turns out, whether you're undefeated or you are where you are. And so I think, getting your body and your mind back is just, conducive to having the best season that you could possibly have when we come back. And so it's going to be hard for guys, but, we'll figure it out. We're professionals, so, yeah.
How do you kind of stay so, like, not, I wouldn't say cool, calm, and collected, but like level-headed when you're battling, having to go through a season like this?
It's kind of strange, but we have a mental conditioning coach named Chad. He does work with the New York Yankees, and a big part of our program was having that neutral mindset when it comes to things and just focusing on what you can ultimately control. And I know every day. I can control my attitude and effort towards all the things that I want to get better at, and I think it's the same for each one of the guys in the locker room. And there are some things that happen in games that plays you want back and things of that nature. But I think the most important thing is just to remain calm, trust the process of things where it's ultimately got you here, and just to get better. I mean, and be neutral about it. You can have those moments where you get high or you get low, but you have to limit it. And so I think. Just staying neutral and staying calm and focusing on controllables is the most important thing. And that's in, every aspect, not necessarily just football.
Last night was one of the games where some of the frustration came on your side of the ball. That has not happened very much this year, but it did happen last night. It happened a little bit the week before. Do you get the sense that people are figuring out what you're doing a little bit by having half a season of tape to watch, or is it a matter of that's something that as an offense you guys can overcome, doesn't matter what they do?
I think it's something we're accountable for as offense, and I can speak from just being inside of it and just seeing the film this morning. Like, we just didn't dominate some situations we should have dominated. We didn't pick up some looks that we practice and we know we can pick up. And when you're beating yourself and the other football team is trying to beat you as well, it's difficult to win games in that situation. Like, we came out early. We got to the 9-yard line, then we took a loss of 2, and then we kind of that drive didn't pan out, and like we didn't get points off that drive. So it's just like you have to take advantage of all your opportunities, especially when the margin of error to win these football games is extremely minimal. So I think it's a matter of us, being accountable to the situation we have to dominate, and even if a team, we're not doing well, and we get in a situation where we have to pass the ball a lot. we still have to dominate that. I mean, in order to win the big one, we're gonna have a game where ultimately it's gonna come down to situations like that. And so, obviously, I think it starts with me in terms of me getting better and just making sure that I'm doing all that I can do, to do my 111, and then also trying to help those around me, get to where they need to go because. In difficult times, everybody needs somebody to lean on, and for this team, each of us has to be that to each other. So,
one thing that Clayton Adams had talked about last week was the communication. Some of the best groups that he's been around, or offenses he's been around, has been where a quarterback can go in the huddle, call the play, guys know where to line up, guys know what route to run, offensive linemen know where to block, things like that. Where do you feel like you guys are in that aspect?
I think we're still maturing in that aspect a lot. Communication always starts inside out. So even me, doing my part, making sure I'm making my call. And then, even though it may not necessarily be my responsibility, knowing what the guy next to me needs to do, or knowing what, a defensive front or a defensive package is set up and how our blocking schemes ultimately impact that. And I feel like, there's disconnect at some points on the ball, and in some situations, there's a lot of nuance. If you're going hurry up, things might be sloppier, especially if you're trying to run looks that have nuance to them and different read keys and stuff like that. And so that's just something we have to dominate as a team. And I feel like we are a younger squad, just looking at the numbers. But I feel like we can still be better there. We've made a lot of strides. I admit, and there's been strides throughout the year. But just being ultimately consistent with it is what's going to win us games.
There we are. I'm going to apologize to the audience in advance because Tyler Smith has just gone right into my favorite wheelhouse about the nuances. That was your word, and I love that word, the nuances of offensive line play. I think I might be more fascinated by that than anything in the sport, with apologies to quarterbacks. I just love that stuff. So we're going to take our first break, and then we're going to talk about that. And in that downtime that Tyler mentioned, I'm fascinated to know exactly what that will look like for number 73. We're so happy to have all of you with us, and Tyler Smith tonight at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco, and we are brought to you by
Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Tom Thumb and Albertsons. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Tom Thumb and Albertsons, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're coming right back with Tyler Smith on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
And coming to you from Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco, thank you for being with us wherever you are, and especially those of you who are spending your Monday night on Tuesday here with us. And I'm Brad Sham with Nicole Hutchison and our very special guest, Cowboys All-Pro Tyler Smith. All-Pro. All-Pro. That sounds cool. It is cool. It doesn't just sound cool. It is cool. But I remember when you were a rookie and we had you on this show. You've been very generous with your time through the years. We usually have you on every year, and you always have seemed to me to be prepared to grasp the moment, whatever the moment is. Now you're a decorated veteran. How does that feel different at this stage of your career?
I mean, when I think about it, just from the start of everything, I just think back to this 30 visit I had with the Dolphins, right? And he asked me, he was like, what are some of your aspirations, like, in the league and, like, things of that nature? And, of course, you start with the correct answer, which is, like, I got to win a Super Bowl, like, because that's ultimately what it's all about. And then you're like, I want to, be a Pro Bowler this, like, All-Pro that. And then he said, like, he stopped me there. He was like, wait a second, like, just think about what you can control, like, each and every day to kind of put you towards those goals instead of thinking about, like, those goals is, like, the end goal, right?
Now, I'm sorry, who was the he that you were talking? Was it the head coach or the personnel
He was
director?
he was the player personnel, head of player personnel.
Wasn't Jeff Ireland, was it?
It might have been. It was like a light-skinned guy. I'm bad.
Okay, that's all right.
Names.
Yeah,
that's
right. Well, I bet he remembers yours. But anyway, pardon me. Yeah.
But yes.
So he said, "How about what you can control?"
He said, "Control the controllables," and that's something I've just carried with me, like into the league, like, and that's been something I think I've carried throughout my whole football career. Really, just controlling what I can control, and trying to maximize every opportunity that I get. Whether it's opportunity to take care of my body, when we're working out, opportunity to train my body, and like taking control of those reps, because you only get so many. And so I think just doing that, that's led to a lot of success for me. It's just about continuing to get better.
But that concept of just don't worry about making All-Pro, worry about what you can control today, that was a new concept when you heard that from him?
I mean, yeah, in terms, obviously when you're young, or younger, I should say, 'cause I'm only 24.
Yes, you're young. He's 24 years old, folks. Okay, go ahead.
But, like, you're ambitious, and you should always be ambitious. But, when you don't, like, imagine, that first year I didn't get any superlatives. What if I was just like, man, like, I just got in the tank about that, and I was just really messed up about it. Like, then I wouldn't be able to focus on the process of things. So that's something I definitely, carried with me. And it just helped me get better. It helped me take those leaps, when I was switching positions, when I was switching from, guard to tackle, like, one game after the next. Like, just, embracing that challenge and just focus on everything that I control to put me in the best position to win.
Is it funny I think we had this conversation in Oxnard, but is it kind of odd looking around and at 24 you're like you're the senior guy, and you got to be the leader now that Zach retired. Did you see Zach last night, by the way?
I did see Zach, man.
What's left of him?
Yeah, what's left of him. I don't know.
Zach Martin was at the game, and I don't know, he looked to me like he lost about 40 pounds, 50 pounds, something like that. He said he just quit lifting and started eating different. Now that he left, have you felt throughout the year that I have to be the example for these boys?
I definitely have, and it's something that, I think is a challenge every day, and you have to, challenge the way that you lead every day. And I think what makes it easier for us is, like, our room is just full of, fine thoroughbreds, as one of our coaches used to say. Like, everybody can really play a high level of ball, and everyone's, like, focused on getting everybody better. It's not just a, like, oh, it's me versus him thing. It's like, okay, like, hey, bro, put your hands like this. Like, maybe try, taking this step. And, like, so we can be the best room we can be. Like, and I think, in doing that, like, that's pushed us to be better in practice. Like, we push each other to be better. And so I think it's just a matter of, continuing to mature along with everybody else, but obviously, understanding the man next to you and what makes him tick, like what brings out the best in him.
How fulfilling is it for you now that you've kind of taken on that leadership role that Zach and Tyron kind of took for you? So how fulfilling is that for you?
I mean, it's super cool to me, and I think the best thing is, like, it's not something I have to do alone, and I think what's great about that is like we have so many leaders in our room. Like we have guys who are ready to step up and take advantage of their moment when the time comes. Like I think about Brock, I think about Terrence, I think about like Cooper Beebe, like people like that, bro. Like and even though they're not haven't been here as many years as me, like I think we do a good job of being accountable to one another and ultimately like knowing that. We all represent the standard of this room at like any given point in time.
Speaking of Brock Hoffman, for those of you who don't know, he was here a couple of weeks ago, and we knew Cooper Beebe was coming back off IR. I asked him if there would be a cage match between them to see who got the position. He said no cage match. Although he would have gone for it if they'd offered it to him, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd have gone for it.
He fights dirty though, bro. You can't play around with that.
No, that's exactly right. But now I'm transitioning to what you have mentioned a couple of times about how you use the bye, take care of your body, take care of your mind. So one thing we asked, Nicole does not remember this part of the conversation because she just shot me a side eye.
No.
It
wasn't. I promise.
I could have, that look said, what are you talking about? I don't remember this. I was almost wounded by that side eye. He talked about, I had seen an Instagram post of his where he talked about how he ate in college, what his normal meal consumption would be when he was at Virginia Tech.
Okay.
And it was so much fried, and it was Panda Express times 2 for lunch, and then three other things
wild.
for dinner, and it was like that way every day, chicken and waffles. And then he said, okay, now I can't do that anymore. Now there's a lot of brown rice and grilled fish and that kind of thing. So when you came from Tulsa, what did you think taking care of your body meant, and how has that meaning changed for you, if it has?
So when I came from Tulsa, I was actually in a really good spot in terms of like taking care of my body because our training staff at Tulsa was really good to me. Like I had a great relationship with them, and then obviously in college, you pick your schedule, especially with COVID. Like I didn't have to go to class.
Oh,
so,
good point. Yeah.
I could be in there all the time. And so when I came to the Cowboys, I knew the most important thing for me was finding like somebody in my area that could like give me modalities, like stem, like dry needling. Soft tissue, stuff like that. And so that's kind of still been my process since being here. Like, obviously, I do a little bit more stuff. Like, I have, like, massage therapists that, like, specialize in, like, deep tissue and, like, things like that. And then, guys who kind of, like, have their own treatment methods. And so I think the most important thing is getting all the information, from veterans around me. Like, I use one of the guys Zach worked with for a long time. And even Tyron did some work with him and a lot of the other guys. So I got a lot of info from them, and then just being consistent with that. I knew ultimately, like, the NFL schedule is very different. I'll say that. Like in college, like there are some gaps in that day, like where you can kind of, you can get out and do you. But like in the NFL, like you're really there from like 7 a.m. to like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and so like definitely just taking advantage of those days where you get out a little early, taking advantage of those off days, and like sometimes it can be arduous for sure, but like I mean. The margin to win is like that much, so I think it's just about like understanding that and like, bringing guys into that because everybody doesn't do it like you said, like especially when you're young, like younger guys that come in like 21, like he's like whatever, like but eventually like they start playing against other dudes as talented as they are, and they like come to understand like okay, like this inflammation is real. So
all right, now another factor for you could have been, and I hope folks know Tyler's a Fort Worth boy, so you were coming home.
Yeah.
And that can mean that there might be some home cooking that was going to be available to you more frequently than was the case when you were away at school. And that might not play into your nutritional plan all the time. And by the smile on your face, I'm guessing maybe there was a little, I'm partly right about that.
I wish. No. No, my mom, she's an empty nester, so me and my brother are only 2 years apart. So, like, when I came back, like, she hadn't been cooking for a while, but she does bring like a lot of groceries to the house. Like I have to, tell her to dial back. Cause when we were a kid, like you can have a box of chips.
How does that work out telling Mom to dial it back? That never worked for me.
I mean, I be having to tell her because I'm like, Mom, like, I'm trying to adhere to this diet. And like you bring these, these giant Sam's packs, like 50 packs in here.
Yeah.
And like it can get difficult. So definitely that was a factor, but my dogs eat really well. She cooks them. She cooks for my dogs, so they kind of.
She does.
Wait, she cooks for your dogs?
Like specifically? Don't you mess with this? This is for the dogs?
Yeah, like she comes to and she'll like boil 10 pounds of chicken, like 10 pounds of like straight like boneless breasts, and like I'll feed them with that because like they have bigger diets.
How many dogs?
I have 2.
And they are what breed?
They're Presa Canarios. So they're
Not familiar. Please explain more.
So they're like from the Canary Islands, basically, kind of like where their breed comes from, and like they're pretty big. Like I got my first one from New York, and he's like purebred, so he's like probably like 150. Like he's a big dude.
150.
Yeah, she's 150, and then I got my female from a kennel in Mississippi who did like an endorsement deal with me, and like she's a real deal. Like she's an actual like guard dog. Like she really has it in her, and so like yeah, they have to eat like very specific diets, and I can't deviate. Like if they eat like a Cheeto Puff or something, it throws their stomach out of whack, and like I have to give them medicine. So it's a real big deal.
Okay, I'm going to digress completely because I'm so fascinated by this. I'm a dog lover, but I'm not familiar with Presa Canarios. How did you become familiar with that breed?
So real talk, and I have to reverse this. I wanted a Cane Corso. I wanted a Cane Corso, and so I was like looking around. And I can't remember who got me in touch with the breeder, but like I got in touch with the breeder. I think my agent did. Like he got me in touch with this breeder. So they were like, "You want this dog or whatever?" And so I was like, "Yeah, like I'll take the dog." So we just did the deal over the phone. Like I just, I sent them the money.
I mean, you looked at the pictures.
I
knew
looked
what
at the
you were
picture.
getting.
I looked at the puppy, yeah, and the puppy actually like looked like a Cane Corso. Like it's when they're puppies, like you can't really tell.
No.
And like
Nor can you hold their little paws,
Yeah.
and if they're big little paws, then you know what you're dealing with later.
Yeah, and then he showed up and he had a tail, and so I was like, okay. I was like, that's not because they're supposed to get their tails cut off or snubbed or whatever when they're younger. And then I found out he was a Presa, and so that's kind of how I became familiar with them for real. Like it was on accident completely. But Micah has a couple. Like I learned that he had a couple, so yeah.
Did you grow up having dogs?
I did not know, and my mom, she actually was not an animal person, like which is kind of funny. It's
Now
funny
she loves them.
how much affection she has for them. As long as they're, even when they're at her house now, like she used to then, like taking them, but. I have a female and a male, so like one of them has to like leave at a certain time. So yeah, she's really good about that. But
Well, and I may get myself in a little trouble here, but moms generally, when moms cook for anyone, if the entity, person, canine, if they eat what mom has prepared with some gusto, that's real mom love right there.
it is, and they're big. They get big. Like every time they go to her house, they come back bigger. I'm like, what is going on?
And then she sees them and says, "How are my babies?"
She's like, y'all feeding them enough? Because, if their ribs show, like, I don't want anybody to call anybody on that. I'm like, Mom, like, the dogs are fine. They eat.
All right, we have to take our next break. We will then get into what a mental break looks like for Tyler. And I do want to get into the nuances of offensive line play, but the dog story was awfully good. Who else is bringing us this fine program, Miss?
Luke Casey. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Luke Casey. Shop the collection today at Luke Casey's 6 DFW locations or online at lukecasey.com. Luke Casey, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
And how long is our break, Ivan? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? Just enough time for me to Google this dog breed and see what we're talking about. Tyler Smith is our guest on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We are at Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco, and we'll be right back.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back. We are at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Nicole Hutchison with our very special guest, Cowboys All-Pro Tyler Smith. Don't mind us. I'm just showing Nicole some pictures of puppies because I'm intrigued by dachshunds. I've never had a dachshund. I've had dogs most of my life.
Oh, the
Don't
winter
have one
dog,
now.
yeah.
And some of the toy ones they're so cute I can't even. But I looked at pictures of Tyler's. You should look those up. Those are it's similar to a Mastiff, and these are big, powerful looking dogs, which is the kind of dog you should have.
Yeah, but if you're smaller, I think twice. I'm just saying.
Are they playful?
They're very playful, and they like to love, and so like.
And they don't know how big they are, do they?
Well, they probably do, but they know how big I am too. So it's just like it kind of balances out. So I'm like, man, but yeah, they're very playful and like they're loving. They're really good around my family and friends. Like,
you know what would be good, Nicole, is if you had a dog like that, if you had the right footwear.
Ooh.
Where might you get some of that?
I don't know.
Maybe boots.
Boots, Luke Casey. We already did that, but
Oh,
it's
we
fine.
did.
We can show love again. It's fine, no problem. Luke
I
Casey,
was
stand tall.
completely besotted by his dog.
It's all good. It's all good. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands of the
Oh, yeah, I
Dallas
remember
Cowboys collection. By Luke Casey. Shop the collection today at Luke Casey's 6 DFW locations or online at lukecasey.com. Luke Casey, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys
I got to
cheerleaders.
sleep at 2 a.m. Everybody get off my back. What time do you go to sleep after a Monday night game at home?
man, but I went to sleep about the same time this time, just because I had to watch the game. Like you had to wait for the game to get uploaded, but yeah, I go to sleep kind of late. I go home.
But you're 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I left that way behind a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you like, especially if it's a frustrating game, do you want to watch it right now?
Yeah, I really do. Because, the faster I watch it, the faster I can kind of know where, I need to put my mindset in terms of, improving or, what we need to do to, like, kind of fix things, especially when it's frustrating. I think, it sucks when it is, but if you're not learning, like, from your mistakes, then, what are you doing? So, yeah.
So you watched it last night.
I did, yes.
What was one thing that you took away from the film in terms of this offensive line?
I think we're physical. Like, I think, we may be the most physical offensive line in the league, just in terms of, like, wanting to, like, hurt people. Like, not, like, hurt people, but you know what I'm saying? Like, But I think we're physical. I think it's just about being consistent, and I think winning consistently. I think, like, we really have to, like, trust our fundamentals and what we practice, but also trust ourselves to win in those situations. Like, ultimately, we're the players, and the team is going to go as far as the players go, and I think we're accountable for everything. And so I think, man, like, physical just needs to be more consistent on our fundamentals. That's really it.
How do you build on consistency?
I think it's about doing it every day and being deliberate about what you do as well. In practice, you only get so many reps, but, like, what reps are you watching? Are you just watching, like, our padded practice, or are you watching my game, or are you watching walkthrough? And kind of just see how strict you're being on yourself in terms of, practicing your fundamentals and what ultimately you're trying to do to win. And so I think that's kind of part of my mindset when it comes to that. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to piggyback off that. You don't get beat very often.
Yeah.
That's why you're an All-Pro. But Walter Nolan gave you a little trouble last night, and I saw a clip today of you were set, and he seemed to give you a good stiff arm, and maybe, I don't know if you overstepped, but he got by you. So when you look at that, what are the things you take from that about, here's what I cannot do to keep that from happening again?
I think about the fundamentals that ultimately I'm trying to utilize to win that rep. And I think about how strict was I in terms of implementing that. Like, on that specific rep, I got caught reaching. And if you're reaching and double clutching.
So tell these folks who never played offensive line what reaching means.
So reaching is where you're basically reaching over your toes and you're leaning. Like, your feet isn't supporting you. Like, you have no true base. Like, you're not punching from a position of power. And so, in getting out of my fundamentals and thinking too much about trying to get my hand on somebody, I'm not getting out of my stance and getting in front of somebody in order to ultimately start the fight. And I think when I'm getting out of my stance, I'm getting in front of somebody, that's when I'm playing the best version of my football, like because I'm making them go through me, like I'm making them, ultimately have to engage me instead of reaching, and, giving him an obstacle to go around, and around the corner. And so, obviously it does suck when you lose, but like, knowing what you did wrong, and ultimately knowing that, if you don't fix it, like, or at least, look for solutions in your play, like people are going to utilize that against you is very important to me.
All right, so we're getting into these nuances of offensive line play, but I do not want to get away from, because I think it's important and instructive. When you get away from football during a bye week, how do you do that, and what do you do? What do you do to occupy your mind and your time so you're not thinking about football?
I think for me, it's just kind of getting to a happy place, and for the guys, whether that be going back home or where they're from, like I'm from here, so it's kind of my happy place or whatever. But
now, will you go to Tulsa's game wherever they are?
No, I'm not going. They're gonna be on the East Coast.
Oh no,
But if they were home, I would have went. But I'll catch them some other time. But yeah, I think
well, what's your happy place?
I mean, for me, really just kind of getting better. Like, I don't know. When I'm outside of football, I like video games, like, going to shoot, like hanging out with my friends and things of that nature. So maybe like hanging out with them a little bit, but definitely, like getting my body right and ultimately, getting prepared for the task ahead. I know it's about kind of disconnected from it, and I will in terms of, I don't have to watch tape and I don't have to game plan for anybody this week. But in terms of like, adhering to that process of what I know is going to, ultimately bring out the best in me, like I'm still going to do that. So whether that be, taking care of my body or, maybe just doing self-scout on myself, kind of watching stuff from the season, like that's something I can do, me, myself, Well, I say everybody do it, no, but,
What will taking care of your body look like for you this week?
I think a lot of R&R, obviously, like, getting work done, whether it be like soft tissue, whether it be needling, acupuncture, things of that nature. And just like, compounding that, like doing something every day. Like, there are lots of approaches you can do, like the treatment. And like when you have downtime, it gives it time for a lot of other stuff to take effect. So I think just utilizing a holistic approach in terms of that stuff.
I want to kind of ask you back to what you were saying about fundamentals. There's Tyler Booker, who is still working on his technique. Talked to him last week. How difficult or how challenging is it for you, considering, granted, you've been in the league for a little bit, but you're still 24 years old, trying to build on your techniques and fundamental. How challenging is it for you still learning while also taking on that leadership role and still teaching someone else who just came into the league?
I mean, obviously, it can be a challenge for sure. And I think the most important thing is, just focusing on ultimately, what's going to, help us get better, like, together. And, like, I've had conversations with him. He's very polished. Like, I mean, I think T-Book is really polished. I think he played multiple positions across the line and things of that nature. And so, like, I feel like with him it's easy. It's just a matter of, like, kind of letting him into my frame of mind in terms of how I approach the situation and just telling him to trust his fundamentals. Because ultimately, like, I think he could dominate, those looks, and I know he can. So, for me, it's about also getting better as well, kind of minding the things that I have to do to get better, but also, like, when he has a question or I know a situation may arise for him in a situation that I know I may have, struggled with in the past or, like, I've encountered in the past, trying to put him in the best space to dominate. Like, we had a lot of situations like that in game where, there were things other weeks that kind of, like, may have caught him, but then, like, we have a conversation about it and kind of how to correct it, and like he's quick at picking it up and not making the same mistake twice.
Okay, we are really getting close to the nuances of offensive line play. Nicole's on the edge of her seat. She can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. We're going to take our last break. We are at Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour with our very special guest, Tyler Smith, and we'll be right back.
Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Back at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco on the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. I'm Brad Sham with Nicole Hutchison and Tyler Smith, our very special guest. We'll start taking some questions from the audience in a couple of minutes, but we're just talking about the thing. I just think that the things that you guys have to see from the beginning of the play, people have no idea. It blows my mind. So why don't you take us through, you're in the huddle, Dak's getting the play, he calls the play. So what things do you hear that tell you what to look for when you break the huddle, and what happens then by the time you get out there before the ball is snapped? And we're talking about 2 or 3 seconds.
So I think, first of all, it does all start with the call. Like, I'll hear numbers and I'll hear certain code words that mean something to me. And so when I go up to the line, I know where to put my, I know where to focus my attention, so to speak, without giving away any tells. And then, like, from then on, I communicate. Like, I communicate to the person to my left and my right, kind of like what I plan on doing, and, like, that's kind of like a mental check. Like, is
that a verbal communication or not
it's
necessarily?
Verbal. It is verbal, but it's also like, I'm like, hey, bro, like, so-and-so, that's what I'm about to do. Like, and then, like, there might be a kill attached, so I have to also know what play we're going to if, we're not in the right look. And, part of knowing, like, when you're going to that play is kind of, understanding, what the kills are and, like, the formation and, like, kind of how certain fronts should look when you have certain pieces on certain sides. Like, in a matter of all that time, like, I hear the numbers, hear the words, go up, look, place my attention, communicate, and go from there.
The communication's not always verbal, because on the road, sometimes it has to be obviously selling count, right? So what's the challenge there, and obviously not having to be verbal? You can't really be verbal.
I mean, whatever we do, try to be as decisive as possible. Like, even if I have to point something out, like, and they obviously know, like, at that point, it's just like we just have to win there, like, and they know we have to win, and they have to win. So I think as long as everybody's on the same page, regardless how obvious the communication is, or, like, whatever the case may be, like, it just gives us the best chance to be successful.
So you come to the line of scrimmage, and now the defense, while Dak is in the couple of seconds that he's looking at where they are, including both protection and coverage, now they shift. They do something else. And so now what the protection, at the very least, that he just called, that's not it anymore. Is this something that he always communicates verbally, or are there things that just when you see somebody move, something like that, then you know, oh, this is different. This is not this, it's that.
I mean, yeah, like, you'll practice certain looks, so to speak, like certain placements of the defenders and how in an ideal world they should be, but ultimately you have to have a little bit of knowledge, in terms of the nuance, so to speak, of the play. And know that on the fly, things can change. And, like, if somebody's position change, you have to make a different call. Like, you just have to be confident with it and make sure that you communicate that. But, yeah, we do practice certain looks and, like, have to know in situations what to do. And
so what happens when now the ball is snapped, and let's say they give you a stunt, a game, that you hadn't seen before. So the guy when you got down in your stance, the guy you thought you were blocking, you ain't blocking that guy no more. Mm-hmm. That's somebody else's guy. And is some of that nonverbal? Like, can you, like, look at the tackle or the center and say, okay, we're doing something different?
Oh, so sometimes there are visual cues that you can kind of look at pre-play, but if you're seeing a movement key, like, you need to speak, like, because not everybody can see what's going on. Like, if there's a movement key all the way on the right side, and, like, the right tackle is, like, telling me something or telling the line something, like, I can't see that. And so, like,
Can you hear it?
I can hear when he says it as long as it's echo. Like, that's why it has to be echoed. It's like, if you're in Denver and like you're in the red zone, like he could be yelling like with everything he has, and like you can't hear him unless the person next to you can hear him.
So it's like telephone. You got to.
It's like telephone. Like you gotta play telephone sometimes, but there are visual cues, and like it's important to like turn those visual cues into auditory cues as quick as possible if you want to pick them up.
So do you understand how this is science? This is not like it looks like you get down in your stance and the quarterback calls the snap, and then all the big guys get up and start hitting each other. That's what it looks like. That's just so much not what it is if a play is going to work. Was it high school, college, when it started to become like that scientific thing to you? And then how much did it become more sophisticated when you got to this level?
I think to me, like your offense changes like from high school to college. Like in high school, you have a lot of one-word plays, but obviously everybody is not, as smart. So you rely more on like your talent, position-wise. Like, 'cause if you have one really good receiver and a really nice running back, like who can beat like 95% of the kids in the district, like it's just kind of like you're gonna win games. But when you get to college, then everybody kind of, the talent gets even. So the coordinator has to be better. Like you have to call certain plays better and stuff like that. And then when you get to the league, it's all about speed. Like that's why like. I mean, man, like anybody on any given Sunday can like, have a good or a bad game. And it really does come down to like details and stuff. Like how fast are you getting off the ball consistently? Like how fast are you getting to a position of power, like in the run game? Like your second step, like it's all details. And so like you really do come to understand the science of it more because you depend on the science of the game more. Like you have to kind of know like what, like if you don't have any idea what's going on, like everyone's going to look like they're moving faster than you, like at all times. And like you won't be able to catch up. That's why like I think, some rookies struggle. Like the rookie year is the hardest year, especially our offensive line, because like, you have to understand the offense, understand what you're supposed to do in the offense, understand like, criteria that you've never heard before. Like my rookie year, like I remember like giving up a sack because I came to the line of scrimmage and like I'm in my stance waiting on the cadence and the center just snapped the ball. And then like we come back and he's like, I said so-and-so, bro. Like that means I'm snapping the ball. And I'm like, I didn't know that. Like he's like, oh, are you right? Like that's like a call from last year. But like I didn't know that. Like and so it's just like egg on my face. So like you got to add all that to your your toolbox and stuff and just kind of understand like the nuances of that, so to speak.
It's amazing.
Oh, dang. Sorry.
Okay. Do we have a question out here? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm Tony from Dallas.
Hi, Tony.
My question is there at any point in time during the game or during practice that y'all, as an offensive line, or you as an offensive lineman go, hey guys, let's run the ball more. We got this guy back here that can run pretty good.
I mean, yes. I mean, almost all the time. And I think, one thing that we have to understand is, like, you have to earn the right to run the ball. Like, so if, like, you're in 1st and 10, like, and you want to continue running the ball, like, let's get to 2nd and 5 or, like, 2nd and 3. And, like, let's have positive runs. And, like, ultimately, like, you have to dominate those looks. I want to run the ball all the time, really. Like, I want to run the ball as much as we can. But ultimately, like, we have to be ready for both. And, like, in order to do one, we have to be complementary with the other.
I've heard Zach Martin tell a story about how I've heard Jason Garrett tell it too, about what Zach yelled at him from the field, let's run the ball.
Yeah.
And maybe he said you remember the incident?
Was it the Steelers game?
I don't remember, but it could have been.
Yeah, I've been that person before.
Have you?
Yeah,
have you?
I have.
So if you're trying to do that in a game, if you don't think you're running it enough and you think Javante's really got it going, will you turn over and look at Shoddy or Clayton or whoever it is and say, dude?
Yeah, I would go up the chain of command. I'd look at my coach and I'd be like, hey, like, I really like this. Like, why don't we get back to that? Like, And so it'd be like, okay, like, and like we respect each other. Like, ultimately, the only way we're gonna win is that we're communicating our thoughts. Like, 'cause I'm the player, like he's the coach, but like, I'm the one who's putting the plan into action. Like me and the 10 other guys are with me or whatever. So we can have those conversations. We'll be like, yeah, we want to do this, but then it's up to us to execute that. Like if we're asking them to run these plays and we're not executing the plays, like how are we supposed to, how are they supposed to trust us in those situations to run those plays?
And they will not listen the next time. if that becomes the case. Yes, sir.
Hi, Tyler. I'm Eduardo from Mexico.
Right.
I have a quick question. By far, you are the most experienced offensive lineman from the Cowboys O-line. With the tackles, they were struggling a lot yesterday. Like, what is your approach, or what normally do you say in those kind of games to your teammates?
I mean, we just got to keep chopping wood. Like, and I didn't have the perfect game yesterday either. And I think that's something that, you know, as a player, you have to go through and understand how to ultimately respond. Like, you have to trust the process of things, even when things aren't, you know, the way that you want them to be. Like, our tackles are talented. They play really complete games. Like, they play very physical, complete games. Now, was yesterday our most complete game? Like, no. But, like, why was that the case? And I think it's just a matter of us attacking that and, you know, being solution-oriented in terms of things that we can do in practice and outside of it, you know, in order to be better. And so that's something, you know, I continue to tell my teammates, and that's something that we ultimately have to do to grow together.
Thank you very much. And we got less than a minute, so go ahead real quick.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Larry from McKinney.
Nice to meet you as well.
2 years ago, I asked you the question about the 7-man Olympic flag football team. Has your roster changed since then?
Has my roster changed? No, I haven't been asked this question for 2 years.
Only by him. Only by him.
That's funny.
All right, well, hey, thank you for that, and we appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for coming out on Tuesday night. And super king-sized, Tyler Smith's dog-sized thank you to Tyler Smith for being with us. Thank you, 7-3.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And Nicole and I will be back here next Monday, right here at Sidecar Social on our next Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.